I've got less than 4 weeks to completely finish the tonner. And all of this footage in today's episode is going to be about everything we've done in the last few weeks to keep you guys up to date, so then you know where we're at. Now, the reason why I've only got 4 weeks to get this thing finished is because Canterbury Wheels and Tyres are having their 35th anniversary car show, and I've been asked to unveil the tonner there in front of everyone. So I'm very excited about that, but it does not give us much time to finish the car. So let's go back a little bit and I'll give you an update on what's been happening on the tonner. Today we are getting the front screen in the tonner. We've got a mate, Justin from Bay City Auto Glass. He's gonna come and do the front. Now we're not doing the rear glass just yet because we've got to wait for the motor trimmer to do the headlining because it wraps around and we need to put the headlining in first before doing the rear glass. He's gonna be rocking up shortly and hopefully I'll be able to give him a hand putting it in. She's in. Front screen is all in. Now we picked the Statesman one, which has the black surround. I've always loved that look. And he's got the top chrome molds all in. Dad spent ages the last couple of days getting all of the chrome polished. I've been pretty crook, so I've been bedridden for a little while, so I haven't been able to do anything. So big shout out to Dad for getting that ready so that Justin could get it all in. Now there were a few little teething issues with some of the trim. Like as you can see here, it's a little bit off, so we need to manipulate some of these trims and also like just move them in. But I'm super happy with how nice the top chrome is. We found these, we got a really good deal on them, and I know that these top ones are rare as, so I'm very lucky to have those. Anyway, we've got to do some manipulation to get all of the chrome sitting in there nicely, but the glass is in and I'm super stoked. I also think it was pretty cool that I got to put in the screen with him. That was quite a cool thing to be a part of, so that makes it even more special. We've been mucking around with the trims and they never fit perfectly, but how good does that look? I've said it before, but this color with chrome and black, it just sets it apart. It is just such a nice combo and I love it so much. It's kind of hard to believe, but such a big thing to get ticked off. We'll come back when we're on to the next thing.
And in case you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and let's get to 3,000 subscribers before we get this car unveiled.
Now just making the second brake lines for the diff. Dad helped me do that side and now I'm going to give this one a go. I've already done half of it. But if I can just eyeball it, because at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be perfect. That there. Oh wow. Yeah, I really stuffed that one up. Far out. Let's have a look at what I've just created. Very nice. Looks good from here, looking good. Nice sort of gap then starts to that. Let's bend it back and keep half of it and bend the other half. So now that I've got it fitting and all bent to shape, now flaring the ends. Would you look at that, eh? Beauty. And that is all done. I reckon I got my angles a little bit out of whack, but for a first attempt I'm pretty happy with that. Having to reattempt that has kind of made it go a little bit wonky, but you know what? It's a learning curve, and I guess the more you practice the better you get, and it's not a show car, so I'm not fussed on how it looks. At the end of the day, it is just a brake line, and as long as it does its job and I've flared it right, we should be sweet. The next thing to do is the drum brakes. As you can see, they're all very old and there's not much meat on the pads, so we've ordered new shoes and we're going to rebuild these. Now this isn't the diff that we painted up. Obviously the painted up one is in the car, so we've got 336 gears in there, but we found that at some point a wheel has fallen off that car that had the diff in that and has scraped the crap out of this piece here. So we had this spare diff and this is a 355, which will be a little bit quicker off the line and it doesn't have any sort of play in the tail shaft. So we're going to stick with this diff. We'll just repaint this one and swap them over, and it means that I've still got a spare diff if anything ever happens to this. And it also makes it a bit easier to swap over all the stuff while it's at this height. Alright, first shoe out. weight. Second shoe off. Just like that. Alright, disassemble.
After giving it a wire wheel and a lick of paint, I put a little bit of silver in the center so that looks a little bit nicer. And then I've just put the cylinder body in there, and let's assemble the rest of it. I haven't filmed too much of this stage of doing the stuff under the dash because it's not super exciting, and also it's a bit of an awkward spot to film, so we didn't really want to film too much of it. But we've gotten the glove box in. That's all good. The vents that go through, if I can get the light in here. We've got the demister and the heater box all in there, and the pedals. I got some of the carpet that we use for the rear wall, and we had a bit of a leftover cut, and I'm gonna put it in here because I don't really want anything rattling around if I put it in the glove box, so that will kind of quieten it down and stop it from sliding around. So right now we've got alternator, starter motor, master cylinder, and I've just picked up a brake booster, got that refurbished, so that's ready to go. Got my original proportioning valve restored as well. A quick thing that I wanted to mention is that we have taken out the transmission again to fix the throwout bearing. In the last video when I had my mates around to fix my other mistake with putting too much grease on the input shaft, I put the bearing on backwards. So lucky someone commented that, and thank you for commenting that when you did. Here we are for a third time, and we ended up adjusting the clutch a bit more. But we have modified the clutch to the WB setup instead of having the rat trap, so that's another thing that I haven't mentioned. But yeah, we adjusted that to fit nicely. No, I reckon you will. You're gonna see how annoyed we're gonna get about this.
Right, well first we've got to try and get this thing up on this. Get it up on the right. No.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we've missed it. Okay.
Lovely.
Does it need to go up more?
Yeah, you still got a long way to go. If I was, oh sorry, I've just elbowed you in the face. I'd come a bit my way because there's more room in the cross member. Yeah, there you go. That looks more central.
We're maxing out.
You're joking.
We're not even close, are we?
Nope.
After a lot more stuffing around, we eventually got the transmission back in.
I'm trying to clean up this diff. Underneath, she's pretty old and crusty. So let's give it a wire wheel, clean everything up. I literally stood on this and got absolutely KO'd in the face with the rake. Here's what I've been up to with the diff. We got all of it wire wheeled and taken all the old gasket off. So that's nicely bare metalled. All the inside's nicely clean. So ready to put the new gasket on. But yeah, it's been a bit of a mission wire wheeling this whole thing. Tried to get it to the best as I could. We got the home spray booth all set up, diff ready to get painted. I'm really happy with how that looks, all bare metalled. We've got some of the steering set up, steering box. Let's see how the diff turns out. Let's go, Mr. Spray Painter.
After seeing the diff looking like this, I couldn't believe it. The old man works his wonders and once again does a great job.
We just got the shifter all set up. We've adjusted all the linkages and everything, so we are shifting nice and smooth. We've got the Aussie 4-speed if you didn't already know. So I'm super happy with how that's looking. And right now we are getting ready to set up all of the front with the guards, inner guards, nose cone, so that we can start getting ready to bolt everything into it and seeing to it where we're going to mount everything. We've done the brake lines, and when I say we've done, I said I haven't done much because I come out to the shed and Dad's just done it. No mucking around with him. All nicely routed. We got the portioning valve recode, so that's still an original one. We've got fuel lines coming out to here. Nicely, fuel pump in. Gone with the old mechanical fuel pump. We nearly went electrical, but got convinced to do stock because obviously that's how it went, and then we're not worrying about mounting anything else. We've got obviously our fuel lines run all the way back, so you've done a very good job with the brake lines and fuel lines. I'm not taking any credit for that, but I did do the rear diff brake lines.
Very nice.
So I do know how to do them. I'm glad Dad just smashed that out. A friend of ours that we met up the road, he's into cars, restores cars. Literally took the dog for a walk one day, saw him working on cars, and then we've gotten along super well ever since. So he had this Holly carby, pretty sure it's a 650 CFM, is that what it is? 600? Super similar to the original one. There's nothing cooler than having a Holly. So I picked that up and got a pretty good deal on it as well. So I'm stoked with that. First thing we're doing, chucking on the rad support, and it's been a little while since we've had this out, and I've just found the first ever rust repair that I did on this tonner is in this bottom section. And I was just talking to Dad about it. I was like, we probably could have cleaned that up a bit better, but I'm glad we didn't. That's a good memory for me and to see what we've turned this car into. That's quite a cool thing to look back on. We got the mirrors on as well. I decided to go with the chrome and not the GDS ones because there's just something about this color and the chrome, and I just felt that it matched very nicely. So I started to stick with that. Also not a GDS, so it doesn't really need the GDS ones as much as I do like those mirrors. Decided to go with the bog stock ones because I love the chrome. The radiator support is on, and I forgot to mention that I picked up a set of extractors from High Tech Headers. Big thanks to Dwayne for fabbing these up for me. He smashed them out real quick when I needed them. And as I was fitting this rad support, I was thinking to myself, I went, this is the final fit up. This is when we're getting ready to bolt everything on for good. So I said to Dad, let's get the extractors in, because why not? We've got access with nothing else in the way. And they will just butt up in there like that. The extractors are in and they look killer. Super happy with how they turned out. And I like the color matching with the silver and red. Goes nicely. So if you ever need any extractors, make sure to hit up Dwayne at High Tech Headers. He's a legend. Now we're gonna get the guards in. And we've already bolted on the inner guards, so they're ready to go on. And they jump in the cab so it can do the inner bolts. And let's see the puzzle start to come back together. Helping us bolt in the inner guards. Yep. Looking wicked. Haven't seen the inner guards in it before. The inner guards, I'm super happy I decided to paint the inside of the engine bay body colour. Nearly did it black, but I'm glad we stuck with it. When like this, makes a massive difference. And we'll come back and gap everything up nicely. It's just finger tight, and then we can start bolting on everything else to the engine to hear it purr for the first time. There we go. So I picked up this 4-row aluminium radiator with thermo fans. I've got this on eBay. I know someone that has put this in their HQ with running a 350, so just keep the tonner nice and cool. After making the mistake with buying a Chev 4-core radiator, I sold it on Marketplace. Hope he enjoys it for his build, because I had to buy another one. But now we got one. It arrived today. I got the Holden one for 253s and 308s, and we've just drilled out some holes to make it mount a bit better and try and lower it a little bit, because I've got a pretty cool idea that I want to do in the engine bay. I don't know. I'm sure you might be able to figure something out, but there is a massive gaping hole there and I don't like it. And I'm glad I bought the right one this time, because now I don't have to sell it on Marketplace for less than what I paid for it. The last 2 days we had Dad's best mate Tony come around, help us doing all the wiring. He is an auto elect, so that made life so much easier, and he taught me a few things, but I didn't get too much of it on film. I did get the important stuff on film, and that is getting the dash to light up. I was absolutely stoked. It was so cool seeing the car show some life. He said this loom was actually really good, Nick, for obviously being 50 years old. So it actually didn't need much fixing, but we obviously needed to sort everything out. So we've got the whole loom in there now. Really happy with how it all looks. And most of all, it works. We had a little bit of teething issues with a few little things with the fan. Couldn't get an earth, sorted that out, and turned out that it was an issue with the plugs, because on every single plug that we have done, we've restored them all to being pretty much brand new. I sanded all of them individually. We all did, me, Dad and Tony all had our own ones we were working on, and we just made a mistake and there were 2 orange wires and we just put them on the wrong way. So that was an easy fix. But yeah, it's quite a tedious job cleaning out all the individual clips, but it makes a big difference and makes the connection so much better. That's where we're at with the wiring. Super stoked with that. Big thanks to Tony. We wouldn't be as far as we are without him. Today we get the nose cone on for the final time. Got the new badge in there. Last time I didn't have it in there, so it's nice to have the missing piece finally on the grill. Let's get it on. Dad and I have been working on getting the bonnet on. We've got that bolted in. We've still got to do some more aligning with the gaps and things like that, but for now we're mocking up a template for this piece that I've always had an idea of. Seen a few cars do it, and I want to paint it body color so it sort of wraps around the full painted bay, and it will just sort of shave it off a bit nicer and not expose the radiator support, and it will just look a bit more smooth as such. But big shout out to Rob. He's going to help us CNC cut this. So we're just going to make the template, send it off to him, and then we'll paint it the same color as the car. And I cannot wait to see the final result. But I think that looks much better than leaving it exposed. With this template that I was talking about yesterday, we ended up refining it a bit more, and instead of having the folding edges, we've rounded them off to make it look a little bit nicer. She's alive. That is so sick. We've got lights, got indicators, got the thermofans working. Things we've got to sort out. I've got to get some tail lights for the tray. Another thing that came today was all the steel to build the tray. So that's another big thing. This episode has been all over the joint. I could not remember what footage I had. This was in between lots of stuff that we have done. I've lost footage. I didn't film things. The GoPros died. So much has happened between when I started the footage in this episode to where we are now. There is still a lot of stuff to get done between now and the 21st of March. So make sure to drop a comment. Let me know if you're going to be at the car show, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers. Eyeball it.
Very nice.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we've missed it. Oh, it's finger.
Oh, sorry, I've just elbowed you in the face.
And got absolutely KO'd in the face. The rake.